प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे तुलारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला। अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी वैवर्तकः केशवः। पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थकण्ठोत्कटं ज्ञानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधिनम्। लोके सज्जनषट्पदैर्हरः देवीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजं हरिमलत् प्रध्वंसि न श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं बन्धुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगा। ध्यानावस्थिततत्त्वतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ओम श्री कृष्णाय परमात्मने नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम So we are in the 6th chapter now. 6th chapter, Krishna is talking about dhyana. He is talking about Vedantic meditation. Now when it comes to meditation, there are 5 types of meditation. We had already seen 4 of them in Tattva Bodha. The first meditation is basically relaxation meditation, where you try to calm your mind first. Then the second meditation, when you say calm your mind, basically you think of something that will really calm down your mind. You think of something like nature, like sky, like a place where you would find calmness, maybe a garden somewhere. So you calm your mind. That is one type of meditation. The second meditation is basically concentration meditation, where we actually focus on one particular form and then remain in that form. That is what we saw about as Ekarupa Upasana also. Ekarupa Upasana, we saw that we said that there are 3 steps to it when we said Manasa Puja, Manasa Parayanam and Manasa Japam. There's the 3 steps to do that. Then the third meditation is basically expansion meditation. When you want to actually expand, you widen your mind. When you want to actually when you want to see Ishvara everywhere. So this is expansion meditation. This is more like Vishwarupa Upasana. So where I said you basically look at one particular just look at sky alone and think that as every part of the sky has to be part of Ishvara. Or you look at the ocean and every wave there is actually Ishvara. And then you look at a tree and then you look at every part of the tree to be as Ishvara. So you expand your mind. You don't look into one particular form, but you see some more subtle kinds of forms. Then the last one is, the fourth one is the values meditation. Values meditation, basically you try to imbibe some good qualities by constantly what I call as auto suggestions. Tell yourself that you can remain calm. You will not get angry. You will remain calm for the rest of the day. This is an auto suggestion. This is another kind of values meditation. This is fourth meditation. Then the fifth one is actually Vedantic meditation. So when we talk about Vedantic meditation, we are talking about basically, I am not this body. I am not attached to these external objects. I am not this body. I am not this mind. I am just Satchidananda Swarupa. So this is when this is the most difficult form of meditation among all the meditations, because you have to first, it is very abstract, and to say that it is very abstract, you have to own up to that abstract. That is even more difficult. Because even to imagine an abstract thing is difficult. To bring that into thoughts is difficult. Then to bring that to the thoughts and then to say that I am that is going to be even more difficult. So of course there has to be these steps that if we follow, you can start with relaxation meditation, then you can do concentration meditation, then you do expansion meditation, simultaneously you do values meditation, and then you come to Vedantic meditation. Now, when I have to say, why do I actually, when I sit for the meditation, what happens is immediately in my mind, the thoughts do come in. The thoughts, there are predominantly, initially there will be a lot of bad thoughts that will come into my mind. I will have anger, frustration, hatred, jealousy, pride, all these things, fear, anxiety, everything will start coming into my thoughts. I have to disown these thoughts first. I have to start disowning these thoughts. The other problem is when I sit for meditation, I might even get some good thoughts. Even those good thoughts may be a hindrance for my owning up to this Atma Swarupa. So basically we will have to negate, or we will have to basically accept that this mind is not me, and these thoughts come in my mind, and then start owning up to my nature. And suppose if you do meditation, suppose if you don't do Vedantic meditation, you just sit for meditation. Some people are proficient in that, some people are practiced enough in it, some people love to do meditation. Because when they do meditation, what happens is they get peace of mind. At that time of meditation, you definitely get a peaceful mind. Because you are able to negate a lot of things. You are able to, the fact that if your mind is able to remain calm without any thought, or without any inadvertent thought, any thought that will actually create some chanchalam in your mind, if you are able to stay in that space for some time, you will feel peace of mind, you will feel happy, you will feel satisfied, you will feel contented, you will feel that you have done something good. But then the thing is, that conditional peace, as in condition, when I am in that state only I will get conditional peace, is not really what a jnani will be looking for. Because a jnani is not looking for that conditional peace. When I am in the state of meditation, I am happy. He is more looking for I will be peaceful and happy irrespective of whether I am in meditation or not, but even when I am dealing with the world. So this is, and why is it really difficult? Yes, it is difficult. But is it possible? Yes, it is possible. If it is real, is it actually, why is it that I can get peace and happiness by actually negating all these things? Because my Swarupa is Ananda Swarupa. My Swarupa is Ananda Swarupa. By nature I am happy. By nature I am Santushta. By nature I am contented. The fact that I am not identifying myself to that nature is what makes me crave for things. It is what makes me look for things outside, for all kinds of emotional satisfactions, so, or sensual gratifications, for everything, because I am not able to identify with myself. Just like a fire's nature is to be hot, our individual self's nature is Ananda. So we have to remember that. But remember, if a water when it is kept on a boiling fire, when it is kept on fire, is actually hot for some time. But after some time, it comes back to the normal temperature because its swarupa is not hot. Its swarupa is not. Similarly, when we look for this meditation, this Vishaya Ananda, it will only last for some time. It will come back to your original problems. You will start getting back to square one. So unless you own up to the real Swarupa, you will not be able to get contentment, peace, happiness. So this is the one. And similarly, some people might think all these negative emotions are in my mind. When I sit alone, I get all these thoughts. I got all these thoughts. So better I would actually start looking out for doing something else. Say calling up somebody or talking to something or hearing something. That is only escapism. What we are doing is actually postponing the problem, or probably even multiplying the problems by going for any distractions. The important thing is to understand that we have these issues and we will have to get over them, and that is the way you have to look at it. Without getting away from this kashmalam, this malam, we will not be able to realize our true self. So it is very important that we do it. And of course, we now know our Vedanta knowledge. We know that we are actually Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Atma, Aham. We know everything. I mean, we are Aham Nirvikara, I am Asangaha, I am Sarvagataha. Sarvagataha is all pervasive. Everything is we know, but then this does not get translated into our personality when we actually deal with the world. And unless we actually get it translated into our personality, unless we actually imbibe it as part of our personality, this knowledge is not really useful. So Nididhyasana is the technique. Nididhyasana is the technique to actually let your knowledge become your personality. Now, of course, we talked about meditation is not the only method of Nididhyasana. So what is the other method of Nididhyasana? But Nididhyasana is the method. Okay, Nididhyasana is the only way to actually make this knowledge into your personality. So if we are not talking about meditation, then basically concentrating on that thought for some time, only on that thought, is actually Nididhyasana. So what we say is, when we say we don't need to do meditation, it means you need not come in the morning, put a Padmasana, sit in an asana, have some silent atmosphere environment, and then close your eyes and then try to bring this thought. This process you need not follow. But bringing the thought that Aham Atma Vritti in your mind is compulsory, without which you will not be able to get this knowledge assimilated. So you need not sit in one posture, you need not follow that all the bahiranga sadhanas, asana, pranayama, all those steps you can ignore. You can do away with that. But bringing the thought that I am Atma, bringing the thought I am Brahmasmi, bringing the thought of I am actually not dependent on this world. I am an independent entity. This whole world, nothing belongs to me. This is very important. Nothing in this world belongs to me. Everything is for functional relationship only. There is because anything that I own soon will become an obsession. Once it becomes an obsession, it translates into tension. Okay, it becomes into anxiety. It becomes fear. It becomes everything. So the fact that this world, nothing belongs to me. Even this body does not belong to me. Even this body is not me. This body has been given to me. It has been given as I am a trustee. I am just managing this body, and this mind should be our attitude when we do this. And unless we do it, Nididhyasana is actually very difficult. So, and this Nididhyasana is a compulsory process, I told you. And during the phase of Nididhyasana, it does not happen overnight. So we will have to understand that it is not that one day I sit and I bring these thoughts into my mind. Tomorrow I am actually Jnana Nishta. It doesn't happen overnight. It is a slow process. It is just like when you do a physiotherapy or an exercise. It doesn't happen overnight. Or everything, it doesn't happen overnight. You don't get a six-pack overnight. You will have to go to the gym for a few days to get this, few weeks, months, and everything. And you'll have to be very, very sincere in it, effort. So similarly, this nididhyasana, and this nididhyasana does not give you the knowledge. So if you think that if I'm going to bring these thoughts directly, just those 4 lines, and I think that I will change my personality, even that is not going to happen. Because the knowledge should be first got through the Shravanam process. The knowledge should be got first through the Shravanam process. All your doubts should be clarified with your Mananam. And only when it becomes a doubtless knowledge, you can expect the Nididhyasanam to pay dividends. Otherwise, Nididhyasanam will be just a few minutes of time that you spend reading the same thing again without actually getting your knowledge properly embedded in your intellect. The first thing is that knowledge has to get embedded into your intellect. That intellect, then it has to get into your personality. For it to get embedded into your intellect, it has to ensure that you will have the conviction. To have the conviction, you should clear all the doubts. So you will have that's what happens with death. Why is this body functioning? Why is this mind functioning like this? If I am not the mind, then why do I feel this way? All those questions should come up. Those questions should come up, and those should get clarified. And once you get clarified, your knowledge becomes embedded in the intellect. And once it gets embedded in the intellect, once you do it in Nididhyasana, it becomes your personality. So Nididhyasana is basically like the valve in the tap that you have. The water is there, the knowledge is there in the tank. But for you to actually use it, you will have to open the knob. Similarly, Nididhyasana will be the technique by which you are actually making sure that the knowledge that is in your intellect flows through your personality. So this is very important. So this Krishna said, so far I have just sort of condensed everything whatever we have seen in the 6th chapter. Now when we actually sit for these thoughts, we will have these negative emotions. Initially, try to replace negative emotions with positive emotions. When I say positive emotions, it's not those good thoughts that I earlier mentioned. Good thoughts are still selfish in nature. Okay, but when I say, for example, if you're all the samsara thoughts, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya thoughts, you will have to replace it with the love, compassion, acceptance, all those thoughts. You try to bring those thoughts first for you to become this one, so that the mind does not become a burden. The problem is what happens is the mind is always heavy. When the mind is heavy, when the mind is actually not clean, that is when all this Nididhyasana will not actually work. This process will not work. So for your mind to be clean, it is important that you bring all those good thoughts, good vritti into your mind. If you are good and the only way to replace your bad vritti, the only way to clean your bad vritti is by bringing good vritti. You cannot say, let my anger go, let my anger go. The only way to say that let my anger go is that I will have compassion, I will have compassion, I will have compassion. So that is the way that you can actually replace your bad thoughts or remove your bad thoughts. So remove your bad thoughts through the good vritti, and then once you get the good vritti, the mind becomes calmer. The mind does not agitate that much. The mind is cleaner, and then the knowledge for it to get assimilated into your mind, into your subconscious mind, is much simpler. Again, another thing is, even when you are doing this process, Nididhyasana process, when you actually, Nididhyasana as a process has to be done. Otherwise, it doesn't. The knowledge remains as knowledge, third-party knowledge only. There are two things that you have to do. One is, for Nididhyasana, you will have to spend quality time. You will have to give some time for Nididhyasana and do that. The other thing is also, you will have, as a general, in your day-to-day life, in our day-to-day daily activities itself, it is important that we keep general awareness of things. If certain things come into my way, suppose if there is an opportunity for me to get angry, I have to remain alert to say, okay, there is an opportunity for me to get angry. I'm not going to get angry. So this general alertness will help your Nididhyasana process much quicker. Because ultimately what we want is actually get this knowledge in our Jagrat avastha. In our waking stage, we want to use this knowledge. So even when we are able to use this, get this alertness even during this waking stage, it becomes much simpler when you do this. Some of the emotions are not in your control. Sometimes it just hits you, right? It just hits you. You are not, you are trying to be alert, but even with the alertness that you have, it just hits you. You just get involved in that emotion. For that, what you have to do is to basically go back. After that phase has passed by, you will have to go and say, okay, why did it happen? What was the cause for it? Why did my mind fail here? What could I have done to actually make it to this one? And then at that point of time, it is important for you to say, look, this is basically this is an attachment. Ultimately, if you see, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, even fear, bhayam, everything apart from kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, the root cause is basically there will be some kind of an expectation. If it doesn't meet the expectation, you get angry, you get fear, you feel that if that doesn't meet the expectation, you are afraid that it might not meet your expectation. You if it meets your expectation, you get pride. Though all those things are primarily the cause is actually expectation. Now even that expectation, if you drill down further, the expectation comes because of attachment. Because I have an attachment over the outcome, I have an attachment over that particular relation, I have an attachment over that particular situation, I have that attachment over that particular emotion, whatever. So ultimately, when you do this, then you will have to say, when you do this analysis post-mortem of why actually that emotion hit me, then you can say, okay, this is because of this attachment, this is because of this attachment. Now I know where my attachments are, I know where my expectations are, I know where my issues are, and then you try to work on that. That will again, as I said, I mean, when you do the Nididhyasana, it will become easy for you to do this Nididhyasana. So in 629, Raviji had taken until 629. So even before we come to 629, just on the same thought process, when you actually do this, analysis of the situation that hit you, one is the attachment that you can say. The other thing is that, first of all, the other thing is much more easier would be if if it had happened because of a situation. If it had happened because of a situation, then you say, is this situation something that can be changed by me? If this situation that can be changed by me, then I work on it. So I get angry. I get angry with, say, somebody in the office, and then I hits me, and then I look back, and then I say, okay, I got angry, but why did I get angry? Because he made a mistake. Is this a situation that I can change? So if he's actually my subordinate, I can actually educate him. I can tell him what has to be done. Okay, I can change the situation. Then I do it. If it is my boss, I don't have a choice. I have to accept the situation. So I just need to understand what is the situation, whether I can change the situation, and if I can change the situation, work on changing it. If it is not something that I can change, then start accepting it. Again, because as I said, acceptance is the main reason why the problems come. Like expectations create acceptance. Acceptations create non-acceptance, and non-acceptance creates all these problems. So in 629, so Raviji had taken there. We had seen this. Do you want to read the purport again?
man of spiritual insight, established in same-sightedness, sees the self as residing in all beings and all beings as resting in the self.
Okay. So this is actually where we say basically Atma is the only thing that is there in this universe or in this jagat. Basically we say what Sarvabhuta Bhutastvatmanam Sarvabhutani Chatmani Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma Sarvatra Samadarshana. So basically in Yoga Yuktatma he says in the second line Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma. Yoga Yuktatma he says is a person whose mind is disciplined through Vedantic meditation or a jnani. This jnani Ikshate, the second line, first sentence, what he sees, what does he see? He perceives. Ikshate means perceives. He perceives. What does he perceive? Atmanam. In the first line we say Sarvabhutastatmanam. Atmanam Sarvabhutastamam. Where he says he sees Atma in all the beings. The jnani basically perceives the Atma in all the beings. Now, if I see, which means I see Atma in all the beings. So there is you are Atma, you are Atma, you are Atma, you are Atma. I am Atma. So now the question is, there are multiple Atmas. There could be a doubt. There could be multiple Atmas there. Now he clarifies that whether it is all multiple Atmas or not. He says, cha means and, Sarva Bhutani. You see Sarva Bhutani Chatmani. So Sarva Bhutani, you bring the cha first. Cha Sarva Bhutani Atmani. Which means all beings in the Atma. In the Atma. So there is only one Atma. So basically what it means is, first he says, I see Atma in all the beings. And then he says, I see everybody in the Atma. Every being in the Atma. So which means what? Atma is the only one on which every other thing has been manifested on top of it. So this is very important for us to say. I mean, Advaita, from an Advaita standpoint, this is a very important slogan. So this one. And Samadarshana Sarvatra hai. Samadarshana hai Sarvatra. The last, second line, last two words. Basically, he says he has the same vision everywhere. This we saw even in the 4th chapter, where he sees Brahmana, cow, and everything as one, and a dog eater as one. So he sees Samadarshana everywhere. Rather, which means there is only Atma everywhere. There is only Brahman everywhere. So he sees Brahman only everywhere. He sees Brahman in everybody, and he sees everybody in Brahman. So this is very important from an understanding standpoint. So even when we do this Vedantic meditation, first we say I am not the body-mind complex. I am. So there are 3 steps for us to do, right? First we say, first we have to own up ourselves. Before we say that the other person is Atma, I have to say first I am Atma, right? So first I have to do a meditation to say, I am not this body-mind complex. I am actually the consciousness. I am not the Anatma. I am Atma. I am not this Deha. I am not the Dehi. I am not this matter principle. I am this spirit principle. I will have to own up to first that level. That is the first level of ownership. The first thing. Then I should say, this consciousness that I have, I am the consciousness, is also present in all the human beings. That will be the second step. So when I don't look at people using in their name and form, I mean, transaction wise I may have to look at name and form, but internally I know. That's why I don't have to have any kind of emotions or attachments to it, because it's also another consciousness. This body, name and form is only a name and form. So I have to say that this person is also. So first of all I am different. Then they say that I pervade the body. I am this consciousness which pervades the body, I tell them. And then I'm saying I am not in my body but in all the bodies. So that is the third one. So consciousness is in everybody, and there's only one consciousness that is around everybody. That's the third one. So I am the Adhishtanam. The consciousness is the Adhishtanam. Adhishtanam, we say, is the place where something can be something can be placed, right? Something can be placed, we say. And And here what happened? That the world is being placed or manifested on top of this adhishthana. This Jagat is manifested on top of this adhishthana. So this 29 basically explains that I am the Atma, the same Atma, all the beings are on the Atma, on the same Atma. And therefore the Jnani sees everything as same, everything as one, everything as one. Now, this 29 and 30 comes as a pair. Now it's similar to that fourth chapter where we saw. Now in 30 is about bhakti. Particular, we are not speaking. 30 is about, I'm just giving an introduction before we go there. So 30th is about bhakti, and this comes 29 and 30 has to be read in conjunction. Because it is going to tell you who the God is. No. So we will see in 30. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Sachame na pranashyati.
Sachame na pranashyati.
He who sees me in all beings and all beings in me, to him I am never lost, nor he to me.
So, this is basically another sloka in which he is confirming. It looks similar to the earlier sloka, where he has replaced Atma with he. So it is actually now we have to get to a conclusion now. So basically, Krishna here talks about bhakti. See, what happens generally, we have bhakti. When we have bhakti, we have a form. We celebrate Krishna Jayanti, we celebrate Vinayaka Chaturthi, and everything. We see God as a form, name, and we get the God for Krishna Jayanti. We invite him in the morning, in the evening through the kolam, put him there. For Ganesh also, we bring him that one, and then we send him back Visarjan. We do. So we see God as a name and form, and he is expected to arrive and depart also. Not stay. This is not expected. This is one form of bhakti. Not that this form is wrong, right? This form is not wrong at all. But what God says here is, Krishna says this here is that I am everywhere and everything is unto me. So we will see this explanation when we see Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mayi pashyati. Tasyaham na pranashyami sachamena pranashyati. So we say yaha pashyati mam. If you see, pashyati is there. Yomam yaha pashyati mam. Who sees me, pashyati means see, who sees me, sarvatra, where, everywhere. Who sees me everywhere, and not only he sees me everywhere, but also cha pashyati sarvam. Sarvam cha mai pashyati is there, right? Cha pashyati sarvam mai. This is he who sees me everywhere and sees everything. Pashyati sarvam mai, in me. For him, what will happen? For him, aham na pranashyami. Tasyaham na pranashyami is there, right? Aham na pranashyami. I am not lost to him. I am not lost to him. We will see the significance of what is I am not lost to him. And not only I am not lost to him, saha sacha mena pranashyati, we say, saha cha, we say, he also, cha is and or also, mena pranashyati, he is not lost to me. So I am not lost to him, he is not lost to me. So this is very important. So again, this has got a significance as to why he is not lost to me and I am not lost to him. We will see. So first of all, in this kind of bhakti, when we have this form, name and form bhakti, there is always God coming in, God going out. We have God for some time, we worship the God, and then we keep him in the puja room. Then when we come and sit in the TV room, we forget God. Because God is in that room. What we watch in the television is not for God. God is sitting there. So this is the bhakti that we have generally. Or what God says is, I don't think that I am actually only in that form. I am actually in all the forms. I am actually everywhere, and everything is in me. So this is the highest form of bhakti. So to ultimately a jnani is in this state only. This state of highest form of bhakti, where he sees Atma Swarupam everywhere, and when he sees Atma Swarupam, he knows that Atma is nothing but Ishvara Swarupam. Because when we say the last sloka, we saw that Atma is everywhere and everything is in Atma. Now God says, I am everywhere and everything is in me. So which means it is easy for us to deduce that Atma is nothing but God. Brahman is God. So this is the significance of this sloka. So Krishna says, I am Mam Sarvatra Pashyati. This Jnani will see me in everywhere. So Atma is Chaitanya Rupam. So which means God does not have a form. God is also Chaitanya Rupam. So Bhagavan is there in every form as what? So if you say, I see Bhagavan in you, I see Bhagavan in you. When I say, is it the mind that I see as the Bhagavan? Is it that the eyes that you see as the Bhagavan? Is it that the ears that I see as the Bhagavan? No. I see the consciousness that is inside you as the Bhagavan. I see that everybody has got a consciousness, because everybody has the consciousness. Consciousness is the one that makes this body sentient, right? So the moment, the fact that you are sentient, which means God is in you, or God pervades you. So the sentiency, the fact that I am sentient means that consciousness pervades me, and God is pervading me. So God is there everywhere, in every moment, in every second, in every activity of yours. So just to feel God, you need not close your eyes to say, I am going to feel God. I mean, that, of course, when you have to go, I will come back and say that we have to go through the process. But for a jnani, he need not close his eyes to say that I am going to actually visualize God. Because for him, every activity he sees God in every action, in every place, in everything that he sees around him. So not only that, he sees God everywhere, but he also sees everyone is the God. So he not only sees God being pervading everywhere, he also sees everyone as God. Every sentiency, everybody's sentiency, this one is God. That's why even in our shlokas we have this, even in Vishnu Sahasranama we have, right, Vishwadaram, Gagana Sadarsham, Meghavarnam, Shubhangam, where we compare Lord to the sky or space. Space is the most subtlest thing that we can think of. Okay, I mean, Atma is even more subtler than space. So this, there we compare the Lord to be space. So God, when we say God, this is very important for us. When we say God is formless Atma only. God does not have a form. God is formless only. God is Atma only. So this is important. But to appreciate that formless God, to appreciate that God is in everywhere, God is in you, God is in me, God is everywhere, the mind has to be subtle. The mind has to be subtle enough for us to appreciate it, accept it. For the mind to be subtle and to appreciate it, we need to have a form. That is why we have a form God. Basically, by doing bhakti to that God, by actually thinking of that God, by actually remaining with that God, by actually doing karma yoga with that God in mind, maybe you actually make the mind subtler. You might make the mind lighter. You make the mind cleaner. You make the mind much more able to grasp things which are much more, because this knowledge is going to be very subtle. So for subtle knowledge, you need a subtle mind. And therefore, this form God is necessary for us to get the mind subtler. And once we get the mind subtler, we will be able to reach the ultimate one. So this is like a stepping stone. And that's why this jnani also, even after he has got the knowledge, he will still continue to worship the form. Because he knows that he has passed through that phase. He knows the importance of a form God in a spiritual ladder. So he will not discredit it. He will not say no. He will not say that today I'm jnani, so I'm not going to worship that Lord. Because he knows that he has to set an example. He knows that he has used that path to come up. And therefore he will continue to worship that form God so that others do it. And only when you do it, you will reach the ultimate. So he says, I will never go into. So finally, this is what we say. This God is everywhere, and God is everywhere. God is everywhere, and everywhere you can see God. Now the significance of I am not lost to Him, and He is not lost to me. Now what happens is in our daily life, we get attached. We get attached irrespective of whether we get attached to some situations, we get attached to some relations, we get attached to some things. And what happens is, you can, if somebody says I'm not actually attached, then ask them what kind of emotions they face. If they face anywhere, if they face fear, if they face anger, if they see jealousy, if they face pride, that means definitely there is attachment there. So if we face these attachments, we have these attachments. For a jnani, he will not have any attachment. He will say, if it comes, let it come. If it goes, let it go. Let it come, let it go. Sometimes we may also feel the same. Sometimes we may feel that some relation, if it comes, let it come. If it goes, let it go. We may have that feeling for some relations. But the fact is that attachment may not be there. Or until that time, probably the attachment is there. And then when we say this person goes, I just place that attachment somewhere else. It's just that I have actually replaced that object, but I have not replaced the emotion. The emotion is not, I have not replaced the attachment emotion with love. I may have an indifference, a negative indifference towards that relation or towards that object or towards the situation. I may say, I don't bother whether this person actually talks to me or not. The fact is, yes, you have not replaced that attachment with love to say, okay, I don't care, but I still have nothing against that person or anything. I don't have any negative emotions. The fact is that I will just say, I will look for another place or another relation or another situation or another thing to place that attachment on. Whereas for a jnani, he doesn't have that. Because for him, he says, God is not lost to him. For him, everything is God. So he is not bothered about it. He has love and compassion for every person, for every living thing. But it doesn't matter for him. Because for him, his relation or his connection is with the Lord. The only hard connection is only with the Lord. These are all, and if he's a real jnani, is only the hard connection is with the Brahman, or he himself is the only one. But all these are all temporary relations. He knows. He will not show any disinterest. He will not show any disregard. He will not disrespect. But he will not get attached. He will show love and compassion, but he will not get attached to it. So for that jnani, God is not lost to him. For us, we will only feel lost only when our closest relation is not with us, or even if we are alone for a few hours or a few days, we will start missing somebody. The fact, if you miss something, you are attached to that. If you miss some food, you are attached to that food. If you miss some person, you are attached to that person. If you miss a particular situation, you are attached to that situation. So for a jnani does not miss anybody. Jnani does not miss anything because he's got Lord. Such a person, the Lord is not lost. And Bhagavan says, I am not lost to him also. Because the fact is sometimes the God is not lost to you means God is there in every activity of yours normally. Normally, if we do any activity in the name of Lord, Lord is with us. Lord will try. There is a, as they say, when you have bhakti, there are two wings to fly, right? One is basically your own effort, and then Ishvara Anugraha. One is basically your effort, and then the second one is God's grace. When you do anything with God as a sankapam, then basically God actually helps you in that activity. But if you think that you are doing on your own, with your kamya karma tendency, or with your ahankara that I can do it, I am doing it kind of thing, God will let it be. So similarly, there is one example that they say. I mean, a boy will ask how close or how big is the God? How God seems to be nowhere, somewhere very far off. He seems to be not big enough. It's a small. The father will take him and show him a plane on the sky, and then he says, "How big is the plane?" He says, "It's very small." And then he will take him next day to the airport near the hangar, and then he will say, "How big is the plane?" The plane is huge. It's overpowering me. So you will say, similarly, God. The more closer you go to the God, the more you can feel Him. The more you can feel Him when you get closer to the God. The more you want to distance from yourself from the God, God will appear insignificant. Will appear insignificant to you. He is not insignificant. Will appear insignificant to you. But the more you get closer to the God, God will play a significant role in your life. This is the important thing. So God is not lost to him, and he is not lost to the God also. So this is 30. We'll stop here. We'll take some questions. Kashi?
There is something which I read. I wanted to share. We are in this meditation chapter now. There is this thing called Chin Mudra.
Maybe we should turn the camera.
No, that's okay. You are more handsome. So this Chin Mudra is we are supposed. That's one of the things, right? It's also there in the. It is actually this, right? Even this one has got so much significance. Like what it says is that this finger is the Jivatma.
Jivatma Paramatma.
And this one is the Paramatma. And this in Sanskrit it's called Tarjani. Tarjani means ego. I mean, say day, that kind of thing. The moment this comes out, that means you are expecting somebody else to do something. That what you that comes out. So that is one. And the other thing is that this finger is away from these three fingers. So this three fingers is the Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And it also can stand for Jagrat, Swapnam and Shushupti. This Jiva is not.
And it is also a Sukla
Karna Sharira. So you are not this, but the foundation is the same. And you are this. And this thumb is the Paramatma.
Jivatma Paramatma is
the base is like this, and without the thumb, all these are useless, and you are also useless. If you only exist. So when we do meditation, we actually do this, right? So there is no beginning, though no end. So this is the circle, and this is unification of the Jivatma with the Paramatma. So there is so much significance in one gesture, and we are like, you got so many things. So it's amazing. Yeah, just thought, but very nicely said, about the distance between Jivatma and Paramatma. The more closer you are.
What is remembered of this Tiruvayar dialogue, right? ஞானி மாதிரி பேசுறது சிரிச்சாங்கப்பா.
ஞானியும் ஜோக்கர்ஸ்
Joke அடிப்பாங்க.
இல்ல நான் ஞானி சொல்ல ஆனா ஞானியும் சிரிப்பாங்க ஏற்கனவே செகண்ட் சாப்டர்ல we have seen ஸ்தித பிரக்ஞ லட்சணத்துல ஞானி will also enjoy it.
When you said that Jnani Vandi is ever pervading, that particular dialogue of Nagesh and Shivaji, Atma is ever pervading, right? It is foundless. When the Raja Darbar போயிட்டு வந்து இங்க இருந்து he will basically discussing, yeah. So அடி வாங்கினா அது வந்து குடுக்கறதுக்கு நீங்க இருப்பீங்க. இங்க தான் இந்த பேண்ட் பாத்தீங்க. Shivaji says that உங்களுக்கும் இருக்கு, எதிலும் இருக்கு. So that basically gives a resemblance in terms of as what you say. In terms of the pervasiveness of that particular Atma, not being in a form, but being in a place which everybody can see. It's only the question of perceiving that within us.
சொல்ல முடியாது perceiving. தூணிலும் இருப்பார் துரும்பிலும் இருப்பார் புராணம் சொல்றோம்.
So that is an excellent kind of a conversation in that particular book. It basically pervades, in fact, many generations that particular dialogue is
திருவிழாடெல்லாம் பார்த்து தான்
start an action. At the end of the day, if you look at it from when you have to engage with a layman,
True.
right? It is
This is, I mean, it's also
clear நம்மள ஞானி தான்.
In fact, Vedam, Shruti is the base for everything. Shruti base பண்ணி தான் Smriti, Sutras have come in. So basically, Vedas, Shruti has got everything in it. So that have been in different jumbled forms and others. So what happened was Rishis wrote Smritis. So Yajnavalkya Smriti, Manu Smriti, all those Smritis came in where they took one particular topic and then they actually condensed and they wrote structured in a structured manner. Now this is all this is, and then they also wrote sutras. Sutras are like couplets, small two-liners which will give a lot of information stored and it is easy to remember. So you have Brahma Sutras and others. You have Kamba Sutra also, not written by Kamba Sutra. So all these sutras. Now these are also difficult for us to know. So what happened was then came this Puranas. So Bhagavad Purana, Vishnu Purana, all those Puranas. The same thing that is actually in the Shrutis came as stories so that people can understand. So then Itihasas and Puranas came there. So it is everything. The base is only the Vedas only. From where everything has been got down. And these Puranas are, as you say, I mean, for laymen. For person who cannot read the Vedas, they can read Sutras. Smriti Sutras, if it is difficult, then go through Itihasas, Puranas to understand. So it's a nice. So Tribhuladal is from, say.
கண்ணதாசன் பாட்டு இல்லாத மேடைகளில் எழுதாத நாடகத்தில் எல்லோரும் நடிக்கின்றோம் நாமே எல்லோரும் பார்க்கின்றோம். Ultimately, that's also the same thing, right? For the transactional world, you have this, but ultimately,
this world is actually a dream-like only. But the fact is, we are too much into this that we don't realize that it is actually a dream-like situation. Just as when we sleep and we are having a dream, and during the dream, if somebody says that actually you are dreaming, you will not believe it. But only when you wake up, you know immediately. You know that actually it was a dream, and what I had seen was only a dream. Because you would be internally sweating, panting. You would have all kinds of emotions. You would think it's all real. But only when you wake up. Similarly, when the jnani, once your jnanam comes, once the jnanam happens, it's not coming. It happens. You basically realize that this whole world was not worth worrying about or fighting for.
We say that God has no form. We do accept the birth of God. It comes to the world. How do we see that?
That is known as avatar. In the 4th chapter, we have seen. Basically, God takes the formless God takes form for maintaining dharma. When the dharma yada yada hi dharmasya jnanir bhavati bharata abhyuktama dharmasya tadatmana srijami. So he will take a form when the adharma in this world goes high. When he has to maintain the dharma, he will take a form.
And we say that God what is within me and everybody else. இதுக்கு வந்து கடவுள் எனக்குள்ள இருக்கிறார் அப்படின்னா அவரோட அவரோட செயல்ல வந்து அவரோட ரிஃப்ளெக்ஷன் தெரியாம நடிக்கிறது வந்து சூக்ஷ்ம நடிக்கிறாங்க.
அகங்காரம் தான். நான் இந்த பாடி அப்படின்னு. Good question. Good question. Ahankara, this is ignorance. Basically, this is what we saw as ignorance. The Tamil அறியாமை. இந்த அறியாமை, அதாவது this is ignorance. Ignorance has been there anadi. There are 6 things that are anadi. We'll talk about it. There are few things that are anadi. This jiva is born with ignorance, and only in a human birth you will be able to get this ignorance. You will be able to remove this ignorance. Once you remove this, because you are knowledge swarupam also, they say you are jnana swarupam also. The moment you remove this ignorance, you feel that you know that you are the jnana swarupam, you are the atma, you are the ananda swarupam. And once you have that, then you don't get a birth. So this jiva has been there for millions of years, for countless number of shatakoti janmas. We have been born with this ignorance. So even a jnani is born with ignorance. For example, Ramana Maharishi was born with ignorance. But once he becomes jnani, he is, after this life, we don't expect him to be born. That's what our Shastra says. The fact that you are born, you are ignorant. You can, it's okay. I mean, any question, no question is great, no question is bad. Any question.
Yeah, the same problem. How to frame the question itself is very difficult.
Like this chapter is actually very subtle. Again, it's not very. I mean, Karma Yoga is very easy to question because it's all talking about the daily activities. So it is very easy. Here it are talking about a very subtle knowledge about what it is. Contemplation is required. I would again suggest with the 2 classes before or 3 classes before what I suggested, I still suggest spend some time alone. Spend some time alone. Bring the thoughts. Watch your thoughts. Understand. That will help.
சொன்னதுனால ஒரு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கிளாஸ் கொஸ்டின் என்கிட்ட இருக்கு. இந்த கிளாஸ் முடிஞ்ச அப்புறம் மாஸ்டர் வந்து திரும்பி இந்த 40 ஸ்லோகத்தை எல்லாரும் படிச்சு சொல்லக்கூடாதுன்னு ஒரு எக்ஸப்ஷன் ஆகிட்டேன். ஏன்னா இது சொல்ல வந்து புரியறதே ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருக்கு. அந்த பக்கம் உட்காந்து சொல்றது ரொம்ப பயங்கரமா இருக்கும். அவருக்கு ஸ்பெசிஃபிக் ஒரு செஷன் வச்சு இது வழியா போகும் அவருக்கு. வெரி சட்டில் சாப்டர். ஆனா நீங்க வேற கேமரா மாத்தி பேசுறது வேற யாருக்கும் தெரிஞ்சிடும் அவருக்கு வேற.
இல்லாட்டி விட உங்க குரல் தெரியாது. இந்த மாதிரி திருவிழாவில் ஆரம்பிச்சாரு. நான் வேற மாதிரி சொல்றேன். ஸ்வஸ்தி பிரஜாபய பரிபாலயந்தாம் நியாயேன மார்கேன மஹீம் மஹிஷா गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम।